All right, so it's it's been probably like 2.5 weeks since I finished the first Jurassic Park book. I have not read the second one yet. I am gonna try to get to it. So I at least started here in October. If you saw my community post, I want to try to at least have like a halfway point of the second book up by the end of the year here. I just, sometimes I have a lot going on, and then I just don't want to read some nights and whatever. I used to love reading. That's, I love writing too. Reading and writing are so fun to do, especially if it's just kind of like free write or free, not free write, not, you don't really free read because you just, read whatever. But I, I stopped at the worst part in the sense of it got good right after. So in the first half of the book, I stopped at the T-Rex breaks out of the cage. I watched the movie version of that as well, and I talked about both. But basically, like 5-10 pages after that, I was the Dilo kill of Nedry. If you don't know what I'm talking about, obviously in the movie he goes to, he runs away out of the building. He's doing his thing, trying to get samples and whatever to his provider or his seller, whatever you want to call it. And so he's got to run to another place and then come back to the main hub, the main building. And while he's out there, he gets caught up in crap and gets outside his car and or the Jeep, and he dies off screen after he gets poisoned by the Dilo. In the book, again, obviously he goes out there, he's going out, he's trying to get his samples and whatever. He gets out of the Jeep. This man gets hit with poison. He gets blinded. This man gets his guts ripped open. They talk about he can feel like a warm sensation, and then his guts like spill out onto the ground, and then the Dilo grabs his head, lifts him off the ground, and he's just dangling there in the Dilo's mouth. And his last words are basically like, "I just hope this is quick." That's his last thought, not his last words. His last thought was just make this quick, basically. So yeah, I have seen the Dilo years ago. There was this channel that did an illustration and like a breakdown ish. I'll try to find the video if I can when I upload this, put it in the description. But if you know what I'm talking about, there's this guy that does like a bunch of different parts of the Jurassic Park books, does them as like little like blurbs of like, hey, what's this scene mean? What's that scene mean? As he reads the scene at the beginning of the video too. And so like he illustrated it, like he obviously censored it because it was on YouTube, but obviously guts coming out, Dilo with his jaws in his head, and he's dangling in the air or whatever. So I knew about the scene going into the movie. I was or going into the book. I'm sorry. I knew it was way different in the book than it was in the movie. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to read this part. And of course, it happens basically again right after I end the first half of my book review. So that I was like, oh, it's terrifying. The way it's described to is just terrifying. Really, the whole book. And I saw someone talk about this when I was watching a clip of the T-Rex breaking out. Really, this is like a horror book and movie. Like the first Jurassic Park is more horror than it is excitement dinosaurs. Because if you are actually trying to do like a Jurassic Park, like a real life Jurassic Park, and dinos get out, it's gonna be a bloodbath, like it was in the movie and in the book. Like it was, whoo, God, it's way scarier when you actually think about it, than versus just going like, oh, look at it's a dinosaur park, woo, it broke containment, oh no. I still do love how Jurassic World it was like the babysitter that died, got picked up by the pteranodon, and then the mosasaurus just boom got both the pteranodon and the babysitter lady. I thought that was a really good kill. I thought that was, for modern day, it's been since between Jurassic Park 3 and World, I think it was like 15 years, 10-15 years, somewhere in that range. That's probably up there for one of the better kills in my opinion. But really, that first Jurassic World movie was pretty, it wasn't bad at all. I know this isn't about that. So we had that Dilo scene again. It's more graphic in the book. we had a baby Tyrannosaurus, which again this doesn't appear in the movie. Technically, there is like scenes in the second movie, but this is way different. Like it literally, I forget what the guy's name is, but the babysitter again for Lexi and Tim. In the movie, he runs away to the bathroom, hides in the bathroom, gets eaten by the Tyrannosaurus, who breaks down the walls and just boom. In the book, this man runs into the woods, decides, okay, I have to figure out a way back to the main hub, back to the main building. I'm gonna just tell, John Hammond, oh, kids are dead. I'm sorry, dude. I tried. Like, they're dead. Like, it is what it is. Alan Grant's dead. Like, it is what it is, man. I don't know what to tell you. Which is a freaking dick right there. But then, he kind of is like, okay, maybe I should go back and kind of check and see if the kids are okay or not. Kind of gets, a little bit of redemption in his eyes. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go check on him. Gets stalked by the baby Tyrannosaurus. I believe, again, it's been about 2 weeks since I've read the thing, so I think the Tyrannosaurus steps on his leg and kind of breaks his leg, if I remember correctly. And so he's kind of crawling away, and then Tyrannosaurus just kind of messes with him, and just, he's playing with his food. Like, literally, the baby's playing with its food, because a lot of, juvenile animals would do that. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was a really cool kill. Having the, baby Tyrannosaurus, get a kill, which, again, you don't see in the movie. But I like that scene, too. That was a little further in. You have the raft scene, which it's more of a scene. It's more of like a longer, like, couple scenes, I guess, than just like one specific scene. But obviously, they're going down a river in a raft, trying to figure out where to go. They're going from maintenance shed to maintenance shed, and they're like, okay, well, we found a raft, and this should kind of lead us either out to the beach, and then we can just wind our way around to the main hub, or we can just figure out where to go. Eventually, when we see something down the river. And so, like, they're just kind of going down, talking, hiding underneath, as they spot Dilos. There's a pair of Dilos coming, further upstream or downstream, and they're trying to figure out how to get past. And the problem is it gets shallower in the river up by where the Dilos are, and they get the biggest break ever. This is plot armor. This is literal plot armor, because the Tyrannosaurus gets stuck behind like a wall of trees he can't get to. The Dilos, the pair of Dilos, see it, turn around, start hissing at it, groaning, not groaning, but like, roaring at it, blah, blah, blah. They're like, whatever, like, get out of here, we'll poison you. And as they turn around, they're like, okay, go. And they push down, get through the shallow part, and get further down a stream behind the Dilos. As the Tyrannosaurus kind of starts to, kind of run after them before it goes off, or she goes off to get tranquilized eventually by, a bunch of people that are, trying to tranquilize, a bunch of the dinosaurs to keep them from getting off the island and blah, 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 because everything's going haywire, obviously, because, that there's no electricity, the electric fences aren't working, there's nothing going on, so they can kind of free roam the whole island. And so it takes a while. Like, they have bad, like, they have nothing. So it takes a while to tranquilize, a 3,000-pound monster. Like, they were talking, I think they said they barely had anything for, like, elephants, at the time. And so they're like, okay, well, we got to figure it out, because, how many do we need for one Tyrannosaurus compared to one elephant, So Rexy finally, eventually gets tranquilized, towards the end of the book here. The thing that I didn't really like, well, I don't want to say I didn't like it, because it's like was interesting, obviously, but the whole raptor nest subplot basically became a literal subplot for 3/4 of the book, and then they get Rexy tranquilized, they get the electricity back on, blah, 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 blah. They're, I don't remember if I think I touched that on in the beginning, but there's a ship that's leaving the island, and there's a dinosaur on the island, so they're trying to call the ship and have them turn around, but obviously there's no electricity, no communications or anything, and so they finally get that towards the end. They literally BS their way into some random command. The guy just says something like you're gonna break like order whatever, blah blah blah, and the captain's like, okay, I guess we'll not dock and turn around. And which, by the way, a big plot point, obviously, like this book was written like 30 years ago, but a big plot point for me is how does no one know there's a freaking raptor, or I think they described it as a raptor towards the beginning of the book on the ship. How you have, it was like an 18-hour trip to I think it was it Florida? I think it was like the coast of Florida or something they were going. Or it might have been like South America, somewhere like I don't know what country is the top of South America. So whatever, it's going somewhere around there. It's like an 18-hour trip by sea. Nothing. Like when they called, they're like surprised and like kind of like, are these people crazy? There's nothing on this ship. But clear as day, these people used binoculars from the island and saw this monster, saw this raptor, like at the bottom parts of the ship, that just running around, roaming around. Again, it's a 30-year-old book. I'm not gonna blah blah blah, whatever. And again, I haven't read the second book, so maybe this just goes into the second book. I don't know. I'll find out eventually when I read the second book. But that was just a big plot point and a big just what the hell? Like seriously, people? So yeah, so they get the ship to turn around, come back towards the island. The government is, going to condemn the island. They're going to get off. But before they get off the island, and as they're again Kevin's kind of up, I was just gonna say something, but we'll talk about the deaths after the fact because technically some stuff happens before. But they, as you know, Alan Grant and the kids get back to the main hub or whatever. He goes back out with some other people, and they go and discover a nest in kind of like underground like pipe that leads to like an underground little not really a maze, but like just an underground like bunker-ish thing that goes from like area to area. And the raptors are kind of out towards the edge by a beach on the far side of the island, kind of where there's no cameras for some reason covering that section, which was again a huge blind spot for the raptors to kind of sit under. Again, it's like a tunnel, kind of like an underground tunnel, kind of with like a little. I think there might have been like a maintenance shed area down there somewhere, but whatever. The point is, they have a nest down there. There's stuff down there, bunch of raptors down there. And they almost get caught, but then, and never mind, you can't get caught because we got to end the book and we got to go into the second book. Got to get Alan Grant out of there. Got to get him off the island. Here we go. So like, I haven't read the second book. I know absolutely nothing about the second book. I only knew about the Dilo scene because like, I knew it was a big difference, and like there was some differences from the movie to the book, and that was like the biggest one I knew about. So I don't know what differences there are in the second book here. And I'm sure there's a ton because I've said this before, but I do not like Lost World, the second Jurassic Park movie. I don't like it pretty much at all. It's down there with, Jurassic World 2, 3, 4 at this point. It's probably better than all those movies, but a part of me wants to put like the first Jurassic World like on par, maybe a tiny bit above it. But if the book is way better, I'm going to be like, okay, I want a 1-to-1 of this book versus what we got in late 90s. Not that I'm saying like Spielberg, like you're good, like man, you're amazing. Without you, I almost just said animating. Without your live action versions of the book or whatever. Like I would probably not be as big of a dinosaur fan because like when I was really young, I was so into the movies, the first 3 movies for Jurassic Park. I love 3. I know 3 gets a lot of like hate, and obviously as we get further away, it released in, I think it was like 2002, 2003, I think it was. As we get further away from the release date here, we're about 15 years, 20 years, somewhere around from the release date. I've seen a bunch of love for it now, which I'm happy about because when I was younger, I loved that movie way more than I loved 2. And I still to this day, I will go Jurassic Park 1, 3, 2. To this day, number 2 is the worst of the bunch. And it's, kind of focus more on city and human aspects of it, which again, might be what the second book is. But I don't know. I've always loved the third book. So anyway, I'm getting so off topic. The point is the book, not the movies. Well, I can talk all day. I could do a bunch of videos and ranking video. Actually, I might just do that this week and just make a ranking video and just talk about my favorite. Spoiler: none of the world iterations of the franchise are going to be in top 3. No, I don't think unless let me watch the second movie and then maybe if I'll watch World the first World back to back. But anyway, so yeah, so they get to the back on track. They get to the Raptors subplot, which becomes the main plot at the very end of the book, and just speed through it. It's just here's a way down to the underground. Here's the nest. We're getting close to the Raptors. Never mind, we got away from the Raptors. Let's get out of here, get off the island. The government's coming to gas the island, take care of the island. Blah blah blah, boom. And then unlike God, I don't remember actually. I do not remember the end of the first movie. But unlike the movie version, I think there is a scene of Alan Grant off island. He's in a I forget where exactly they are, but a doctor comes up to him and introduces himself, and Alan Grant realizes, hey, it's the guy or the girl. I forget if it's guy or a girl. I don't. Well, it's the doctor from the beginning of the story that was looking at a bunch of like the tail that got sent in and a bunch of the injuries to the babies that were dead and the young kids that got bitten, whatever, by the compies. That doctor comes up to Alan Grant and basically says, hey, like, kids are going to get sent home. John Hammond is dead. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. But with John Hammond dead, kids are going to get sent back home to their parents. They're done. They're okay. Like, their government's going to clear them. But you, Ellie, bunch of the was it Ellie? I think her name's Ellie. Oh my God, I am blanking so hard on some of these side character names. Whatever. She was pretty hot in the movie, but bunch of Ellie Sattler. Yes, I think it's Ellie. Bunch of the adults that survived are kind of being quarantined, and the government's like gonna come talk to them, and they're not done with them. So the book ends on a cliffhanger. Well, I guess I don't know why I'm putting quotations because it is technically a true cliffhanger. But again, we're gonna see what happens. I have known nothing. As far as I know nothing about this second book here. So I'm excited to go into the second book, look into it. But yeah, so that's how the book ends, is those two meet, and they're like, okay, well, and the doctor's like, yeah, you're not done. Kids are done. You're not done. John Hammond dies a few pages earlier to compies. I smirked at this. I was kind of, I enjoyed this, how he died. So basically, as he's kind of walking around on a trail, the kids are messing around with the computers in the main hub there, and they make a Tyrannosaurus sound over the loudspeaker. So it's not a real Tyrannosaurus. It's just from the machines or whatever that make the sound. And John Hammond spins around, falls down, breaks his leg, and gets kind of stuck down there. And he's trying to slowly inch his way up with his cane up the side of this hill, back up towards the trail, and try to figure out if he can get back to the main hub and have someone come get him. As he's doing that, compies surround him, and basically they kind of numb him in a sense. But he feels good. Like they get a bite on his neck. And one of the compies does, after a while of him just kind of using his stick, his little walking stick, to kind of swat him away. One gets a bite on his neck, and he kind of hallucinates, and he's just like, oh, I feel so good right now. They're numbing him, and he just kind of gets eaten alive in a sense. And so yeah, so he dies. I was like, yeah, I understand why the second movie didn't have him. I think the real reason the second movie didn't have him was because I think the actor died, if I remember correctly, by the time they were doing the second movie. I think he was in the movie version. I think John Hammond was supposed to come back for a couple scenes. I could be wrong. Maybe he was supposed to die at the beginning by the compies. I don't know. But I thought I remember something years ago where they took him out of the second movie because the actor passed away before they started filming his parts or something. I could be wrong. I'll look into it, kind of see. But it's kind of fitting, he dies in the first book, and it's just the character dies because the actor passed away. I don't remember how. I think he passed away of old age in the movie, if I remember correctly. And then also Ian Malcolm succumbed to his injuries by the T-Rex or whatever it was. I forget what injured him, but he dies on the island in the bed. He was bedbound for basically the whole second half of the book. Spewing nonsense and basically just hey, this is this was bound to happen. Like, I always knew it was cataclysmic. It was bound to happen. Like, I've seen this so many times wherever I go. I'm a great scientist. Great scientist. This happens all over. I've seen it many times. Many different cataclysms or catastrophes is what I mean. All over. He had some name. It was like the Ian effect or something. He called it. So yeah, he succumbs to it, and that's basically the book. That's basically a lot of different. Ian Malcolm is alive in the second movie. Like, he's kind of prominent. He's because they didn't bring Alan Grant back. They didn't bring Ellie Sattler back or whatever. They didn't bring the kids back. So it's kind of like Ian Malcolm was like the primary from the second for the second movie there. But yeah, he's dead. So I don't know. They might reference him in the second book. I don't know. I really don't. So that's gonna be my review of the second half here. I might do like a ranking of movies, and I don't know. That sounds like a fun idea. Now that I say that, I might do that this weekend and kind of put that up maybe next Monday or Tuesday. We'll see. Wrap up though. Wrap up the video here. I'm gonna wrap up everything. So yeah, look forward to a tier list coming up, movie tier list. Let me know if you have read the books. If you've read the books and seen the movies, let me know your thoughts on all that. But with that being said, I'm out of here and I'm gonna go start my journey probably this weekend on the second book, and hopefully by the end of the year, I will have minimum a halfway point done, a video done. If not, hopefully maybe I'll shoot for December 31st to put up the full book review. Maybe that's what I'll do. End of the year, very last day of the year, I will shoot for that. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out of here. Peace.